Hello everyone and Happy New Year! In today's video, I thought it would be fun to do kind of a classic recap of 2025 and then on the second half of the video, look forward into 2026 and let you know what we're thinking for 2026 training, planning, goals, that sort of thing. And if you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Liz. I am just a person with a camera and an internet connection who enjoys running and traveling and sharing those adventures. So this video is more specifically discussing running. First, let's just dive into a recap of 2025. There were not as many videos put out during 2025. If you follow along with the channel, you know that I had a baby. That is why. So the first half of 2025 was really dominated by being super pregnant, giving birth, and then rehab from childbirth. So I saw a pelvic floor physical therapist and I was doing glute exercises, core exercises, just rehabilitating all of those key muscles that are affected by childbirth. And so just gaining back that strength and stability. Second half of 2025 was a very slow, gradual return to running, rebuilding that base to begin hopefully ultra training in 2026. So this included a couple of races and also sadly a DNS. This was my first year as a runner, as a person with a child, as a breastfeeding mom, as a stay-at-home mom, and I wish I could say I was this total badass mother runner who dominated. It has been much harder than I anticipated. While I was pregnant, I was watching these videos and reading articles about these like really intense, like superhuman women like Sophie Power and Jasmine Paris who ran these really impressive ultra distances while they were breastfeeding, while they were postpartum. And I thought, yeah, I'll be like that. But yeah, no, I was not like that. It turns out I'm just like a regular person. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's talk about what I did and did not accomplish in 2025. There were some wins, there were some not wins. Training was kind of all over the place. It didn't help that we decided to sell our house and move last year as well. Sometimes I managed 5 runs a week, sometimes I managed 2 runs a week, but I do feel like I maintained a level of consistency, which I'm happy with. I think we're seeing a snapping turtle. Hi, buddy. Do you see him? He's like getting ready to snap at me. And whatever you are. Oh, there he goes. I won't stress you out any further. Bye. I ran a couple of races and I also had some disappointments in 2025. So let's start with the bad first. I tried to register for a couple of races for early 2026. So the idea being I would be doing the bulk of the training in 2025 for these races. And they were the Run Disney Goofy Challenge and Tokyo Marathon. Not a surprise that I did not get into the Tokyo Marathon General Lottery. It's only like a 2 or 5% acceptance rate. So it was honestly kind of a lark that I even registered for it. And then the Run Disney's Goofy Challenge would have been held in January, very early January 2026. I didn't get into it. I didn't even have the opportunity to register for it because it sold out by the time my time in like the virtual queue was there, what had arrived. And that was a surprise to me. I didn't think that it was gonna sell out that fast. I knew it would sell out, but I kind of had thought that the Run Disney craze had peaked in like 2017, 2018, something like that. And I was surprised it sold out as fast as it did. I think it was like 52 minutes. I think my queue time was like 90 minutes or 80 minutes, something like that. I have run the Run Disney Marathon before, so it wasn't like this was going to be the end-all be-all of races for me this year, but it was kind of my focal point for training this year. I thought it would be like a really fun goal to train for in 2025. So that was sort of a blow for me. Although, in hindsight, it is actually very good that I did not get into the Run Disney Goofy Challenge because I would not have been able to run it because I did get injured at the end of 2025. I also had a DNS this year, which was the Twin Cities 10-mile race, which is part of the Twin Cities Marathon weekend. And I was ready to run this race. I was trained for it. I knew I could finish it. I went to packet pickup. I have the t-shirt. I even had my alarm set for 4 a.m. to get ready to drive to Minneapolis to the start line. But something I could not have predicted was my daughter was teething, and apparently it must have been quite uncomfortable for her, and I wasn't able to actually get her like settled in her crib to sleep until 2 a.m. And like I said, my alarm had been set for 4 a.m. And I just made the call to stay home instead of run 10 miles on 2 hours of sleep. Now you take that same scenario and you put it into a situation where I might have traveled for the race, like say Run Disney or any other race, and I might have said, sleepy damned, there's a bottle in the fridge, Godspeed Tony, no way am I not running this race. But that wasn't the case. I was at home, I was in my own bed, I didn't know how the morning was gonna go for Tony, taking care of my daughter. It was an easy decision to skip it. Okay, enough with the negative, let's talk about some wins now. We'll talk about a couple of races that I did run and I did finish and I had a great time during. The first of that is the Lebanon 7-mile trail run. The Lebanon 7-mile took place in Lebanon Hills Regional Park within the Twin Cities Metro. This is part of the Endless Summer Running Trail series organized by Rocksteady Running and the Twin Cities Running Company. This was an evening race, which was new for me. It was in a location that was totally new for me. I had never been to Lebanon Hills Regional Park before, so it was very woodsy. There were a few wetland areas, and it was kind of cool. You would never have known that you were in a metro area except for the airplanes flying so close overhead. And the run was a real confidence boost for me. This was my first time on the trail run for the year, and it was my first time running a sort of an elevated distance in over a year, and I just took it really easy. It was a very fun, laid-back atmosphere. And then later in the year, I ran the Harder and Heck Half Marathon, part of the Wild Duluth series in Duluth, Minnesota. This run is held almost completely on the Superior Hiking Trail, and it was like trial by fire. The SHT is brutal. The elevation change is constant. There's really no flat areas. It's either up, down, and a lot of it is like quite technical. There's a lot of rocks, boulders, tree roots. There's generally going to be a lot of hiking if you're running a race that's on the Superior Hiking Trail. If you are running on the Superior Hiking Trail, you really have to focus because it would be very easy to trip and fall and say, break a bone. I have such a love-hate relationship with these races because while I'm running on this course, I feel such misery. And then afterwards, once I'm like, I don't know, 3 sips into my celebratory beer, I'm like, okay, but like, if I were gonna run it next year.
You did it! How'd it go?
The last miles up the ski hill, it's harder than I remember it being.
The last bit was hard?
Yeah. Sometimes I think, my first thought, I have many disjointed thoughts, but my first one is that sometimes I think about running the 100K of the Wild Duluth races, and then I get on the course and I'm like, nah. Yeah.
But then you come back.
And then I always come back. I felt like I was like in the middle of the pack. Like normally I'm used to kind of being towards the back, like in the back half, and it's a little quieter, but it felt kind of like I was, like the whole time it felt like I was kind of caught in the middle.
Ah, maybe you're stronger than you think.
Or I just got stuck there. It's just like constant conga lines. So it's constantly like, you're never quite going the pace that you want to go, because you're always like, there's people coming up behind you, or there's people like stopping eventually to walk in front of you.
So that was 2025. Let's talk about 2026. It has not popped off to a good start. I broke my wrist in late December. I was 17.5 miles into an 18-mile long run and I slipped on ice. And I'm embarrassed to say that I was playing around with a new camera. So I guess you can just add me to the list of influencers who have injured themselves for the sake of the gram or the tube or whatever. I did need wrist surgery for it, so I just had that surgery last week and I am now in the recovery phase, which is great, and I am cautiously optimistic that this year has not been totally derailed. I am registered for sure for one race this summer, and then also I am hoping to run an ultra later in the year. Tony and I are both registered for my sad wrist, Grandma's Marathon.
All right, Tony. You just signed up for Grandma's Marathon for 2026.
It's pretty crazy.
How do you feel?
Well, feels pretty spontaneous actually, so kind of felt good. You know, we've been buying houses and selling our old house, so, you know, spontaneity hasn't been our thing lately. It's been lots of planning and overthinking things, so maybe I just needed a little spontaneity. And you know, the reason I signed up, it caught my attention, it's the 50th. So it's gonna have a nice big 50 on the shirt.
You love a t-shirt.
Yeah, well, I love one with a nice number like that. You know, 2020, my big lament was I missed out because, you know, all the shirts and things were gonna have 2020 on them. You know, a nice repeating number like that with zeros sounds very futuristic. That didn't always pan out exactly. Although you ran the Disney Marathon in early 2020. So, love a good nice number, 50, caught my eye. I said to you when we were preparing food tonight, what if we ran Grandma's? And you kind of got a little twinkle in your eye. So I was like, well, it wouldn't be the worst thing to do it. And I've been wanting to run more, so maybe this will get me to run more.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
We ran Grandma's Marathon together back in 2022, and it was Tony's first marathon. And we're gonna do it again. Although this time it's gonna be a little bit different. For sure, training is gonna be different because we have a child now. We're gonna have to coordinate a little bit. We'll have the running stroller. We might be doing some of the training runs separately. And this is what I would call a high stakes race. We're traveling for it. We've invited a set of grandparents as like a support system to babysit while we're running. And we have secured accommodations in Duluth, which is not cheap or easy to come by for Grandma's Marathon weekend. Although pro tip, the last 2 times that Tony and I were up in Duluth for Grandma's Marathon weekend, we camped at Spirit Mountain. So if you are not wanting to spend $500 on accommodations, that is a very good option, although you will have to have a plan for mosquitoes. Plus, it's the 50th anniversary this year, so it's gonna be a wild time. Duluth is gonna be overrun. Already a bunch of accommodation is sold out. And then later on in the year, I am hoping to run my first 100-mile race. Whenever and wherever that happens, I want it to be a flat, non-technical course as much as it can be. I think that running 100 miles can be challenge enough. And I've already enlisted my parents to come and help crew and babysit during the event. I know that a lot can happen between now and 100 miles, and so I am open to changing this goal to a 100K, which would also be a first-time distance for me. The issue is that whenever I'm researching 100Ks, I can't find any that are like chill. They're always described as like brutal, relentless, beastly, and whatever other tough describing word makes you feel like a total badass. And it seems like so specific to 100Ks because I can find some chill 50 miles, I can find flat 100-mile races. I cannot for the life of me find any like regular 100K courses. You know, I just want like a nice, gentle, soft, fluffy ultra distance. This is going to be a big goal of 2026. I know it won't be easy, and I'm hoping I can stir up enough inner gumption that I can do this. So that's it. That's a summary of 2025 and looking forward on my plans in 2026. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to follow along, if you are interested in any of the things that I talked about on this channel, feel free to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. If you do, thank you so much. And if you're still watching, I'd love it if you shared any of your goals for 2026 in the comments below. And so good luck with everything that you're doing right now. Happy New Year, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye.